Look at this guy right here.
Hey, what's up?
Greetings, young man.
How you doing?
Any better, I'd be you. Josiah Queen, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, man.
What else with Corey, man? This guy can podcast like nobody can. What else with Corey, man? You will look deep inside of yourself and feel something you've never felt when he asks what else with Corey, man.
This is our first time meeting, so hi, I'm Corey.
Hi, I'm Josiah. Nice to meet you.
I dig the name Josiah Queen. Is that a stage name, or were you actually born with a cool moniker?
Well, my mom gave it to me, so I was given that name at birth.
Real last name, real first name.
Real first name, real last name.
Give me a little bit of the mystery. What's the middle name?
Joseph.
Josiah Joseph. Any consideration to JoJo Queen?
That's what they used to call me back in grade school. That's what they call me in like 5th grade and stuff. Yeah. Well, I would prefer not to go back to those days.
Even though you're laughing and smiling about it, you also followed it up with, I don't want to go back there. So there's some emotion tied to JoJo. New Port Richey, Florida. Is that the place of origin?
Yes, sir. That's where I was born and raised.
Who'd have thunk when you started this journey that you would have to figure out a manager, some sort of manager? What was that like?
I mean, man, it is. I don't know. This whole thing kind of was quick. I mean, I've been doing music, I guess, really doing it for like the last 8 or 9 months. So it kind of everything kind of went quickly. It was like I need to find a manager, find someone to help me do like booking and all this stuff. I didn't know anything. I was just told that these are all things I needed. So, yeah, figuring it out slowly still, everything that I need. But, yeah, they're big helps. So.
We're going to talk a little bit about that stuff because you are at your first rodeo, which I'm super excited to hear what that's like through your eyes. Let's go back to your origin. You're a pastor's kid, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My mom and dad are pastors, youth pastors.
Oh, the best kind of pastor.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, 100%.
I have such fond memories of 2 very specific youth pastors growing up. For a brief period of time, I was a youth director, youth pastor. And man, the relationships and connections you make with young people like yourself could last a lifetime.
You seem like you'd be a good youth pastor.
All right. I've been known to shove a few teenagers in my SUV and take them to a concert that I would never listen to, but because I got to spend time with them, yeah, we're going to see Under Oath.
Yeah, that's what's up.
What was your youth group like with mom and dad being, I'm guessing, your youth pastor?
Yeah. Well, so actually my mom's over our like kids in preschool, and she's been that since growing up. So I grew up and my mom was like over that. And, you know, like my cousins, and they would all volunteer that were older than me in there. And so I grew up, and then I went to middle school, and that's when my dad, he kind of came in as the middle school pastor. So then I had my dad all middle school, and then he took over at the high school and ministry. So they kind of like followed me everywhere I went. And then they took over the young adults when I graduated. It was like, man, I couldn't escape having them be my pastors. So no, but I love them. I mean, I love it. Me and my siblings and my family. Church always felt like home for me. I always, like, even as a kid, begged to go on Sunday with my mom and dad when they would go like really early and stuff. And man, I just always loved it. You know, I have good memories and good experiences.
Give me the sibling count and ages.
All right. So you got me. I'm 21. My little brother Caleb is 18. He plays bass on my band. Elijah, he plays drums on my band. He's 16. And then my sister, she's 14. She's back home because she has this thing called, she's going to school. So she has to be doing that, you know, finals and all that.
You got some high-quality family names there. Do I go out on a limb and ask if you were homeschooled, or did you actually go into a building?
No, homeschooled. I mean, I did virtual school my last couple years of high school. But no, we all went to public school.
Josiah, Caleb, I missed 2 other ones.
Elijah and Marianne.
Do you have in your history, your past, Did Dad put you to work and go, hey, you're helping set up tonight?
Oh man, yeah.
You're on the ping pong table, the foosball. What do you remember setting up?
Man, okay, first of all, the stacking the chairs. You stack them 9 high. And then, yeah, I mean, I think if there's a competition who could stack the most chairs the fastest, I would win. Because, I mean, that's boom, boom, boom. I was automatic. Sweeping, mopping around the church. That was like, I actually got hired as a janitor. That's what my job was last year at the church. That was my most recent job. I was the janitor, you know, sweep, mop, mow the grass at the church. You know what I mean? Do those type of things. So, yeah, I mean, you need something done at the church, I can do it. You know what I mean?
Okay. Have you turned into that person on tour? Or do you have help? Or are you like, I'm the guy that's plugging it in. I'm the guy that's doing the tuning. I'm the guy.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both because I think, yeah, like as far as like like we bring merch and stuff, and it's me and my wife, and we're setting it up, and me and my brothers are just like setting up everything. We have like a team of like probably 6 or 7 people that go everywhere, so there's only so much you can pawn off to everybody else, and you have to do on your own, you know. So yeah, definitely cleaning up the van, getting the oil changed. But we got that yesterday. You know, adult responsibilities. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When I was working at the church, Josiah, for a while there, I didn't have volunteers and people in place, so I felt like I'm wearing a lot of hats. And there was a brief time where I would give a message on a Sunday night, and then I would grab a guitar and I would attempt to play some songs for these kids. Did you do any of that? Did you help Dad out? Did Dad do that?
Oh, well, Dad, Mom weren't musicians. I started playing in our kids' church on like our kids' church worship band, and kind of just started working, you know, got older and started going to like our youth group and then into our like our main services. But yeah, I think a lot of times, and even when I go back home, I volunteer in our kids' church, and I'm on their like teachers rotation, in volunteer teacher rotation. So I'll teach in there, and then they'll be short on people for the worship, so I'll go up there and do worship also. So yeah, I mean, when you know how to play guitar, piano, and you can sing even just a little, you'll be thrown up there at a church. That's for sure.
When did you start tickling the keys? When did you start plucking strings? Do you remember?
Oh man, I started playing piano when I think it was 9 years old. I took lessons when I was younger, but I hated piano. I quit. And then I started learning again when I was 9. Then I started learning guitar when I was 16. And I guess now I'm a guitar guy. That's all I play when I go out here on tour and stuff. But started with piano at 9.
My mom signed me up for piano lessons along with trumpet lessons. Ugh.
Nice.
And then guitar. But I remember with piano, the teacher was nice enough, but we weren't doing anything that I was hearing on the radio. And, you know, keyboards started to kick in, and it's like, when do I get to learn Jump by Van Halen? And when do I get to learn, you know, whatever? Why am I playing the Chasing of the Bumblebee or whatever? Was that why you didn't like it, because it wasn't tapping into what you were into?
Exactly. That's exactly it. It was like hot cross buns. And I was just like the truth is, that's just how I wanted to start. Is I knew from the beginning that I wanted to play on our worship team, and I wanted to lead worship, and I wanted to like even worship at home on my own. Like that's what I wanted to do. And so I ended up having to just teach myself those chords and stuff that you play in congregational worship music. And, you know, and yeah, my teacher, we had like an agreement. It was like 30-minute lesson. 15 minutes was the boring sheet music. And then 15 minutes was, I got to pick a song and we learned that. And that was my favorite 15 minutes. But honestly, I'm glad I learned some of the basics that, you know, you need to know. It probably helps a little bit. So
do you remember what song you brought to the piano teacher for the first time? You're like, I want to learn this.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I do. Show Me Your Glory by, I feel like the one I listened to was by, I don't remember her name. It was like some, Trinity's going to kill me because I don't know the name of this.
You just name dropped Trinity. For those listening at home, who's she?
That's my wife. That's my wife. Sorry,
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
She's obsessed with this band. I forgot. Oh man, they used to do like worship covers. They're a huge worship band. I just forgot. They did like a lot of, but Show Me Your Glory. That was like the first one I really wanted to do. And there was some elevation song that I wanted to learn how to piano lead. It was like, I think it was like Clouds or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. So those are like the two first ones I wanted to learn.
I got to remember how young you are because my references will not line up with yours. My first big guitar rock song I wanted to learn, and I was maybe 12 or 13 when I took lessons, and I wanted to learn a song by the Cars, a band you probably have never heard of, but it was a fun little song called I Know Tonight She Comes. Do you remember when you started strumming a guitar, what your first song was like? I want to learn these chords too.
I don't remember. I do not remember what I wanted to learn on my guitar. Honestly, it kind of is like a blur learning guitar. I think it was more of like my mom had a guitar she tried learning. I grabbed it and I was just and started learning some chords here and there. I think it was like whatever we'd play on Sunday, I'd just try to come home and try to learn it on guitar instead on piano, you know?
Gotcha.
And just practice a ton. And yeah, so I don't remember the guitar. For some reason, I remember the piano, though.
Let's go back a decade and change. You're 9 years old, and your folks take you to a young adult conference in Kansas City. What do you remember about that experience?
Oh, man. You've done your research, man. My parents were like the young adults pastors. I just remember they would get a bunch of the young adults in a van, and we drive from Tampa to Kansas City, which took us over 20 hours to do. And there was this young adults conference, and one thing I always loved about my parents is that they never when they did things like that, they could have very easily been like, yeah, we're just gonna leave them at home or with my grandma or something, but they took us with them, and I always those are some of the best memories I've had, and it was like a huge conference, young adults conference, and I just remember being there in the mornings and the nights. They had all those sessions, and that's kind of where I decided first of all, it was I think that's when it really clicked in my head that this is what I understood what it meant when people said Jesus died on the cross for me. I heard that in church, but I understood it. And then I saw a guy playing piano on stage, and I loved his voice. I loved the way he just led and sang, and and he even sang his original songs, and I just was that's the guy. I want to be like that guy. I want to learn piano. So I went home, and it was I remember in the summer just really just sitting down for hours and hours and hours and hours, just playing the same chords on piano, just trying to learn piano. But yeah, I think that's where it really started for me, where I was man, I want to be like that guy,
So Let's jump ahead. You start writing songs, you start performing songs, you start recording songs. Do you remember a moment, Josiah, where you're like, wait a minute, this is starting to work? Either people are listening, or you're seeing, in this day and age, you're seeing streaming numbers start to elevate. Yeah. When do you see a moment of, we're on to something here? Yeah,
I think it would be when one of the songs I made, it's called I Am Barabbas. I think the truth is I was trying to write music to get signed to a record label. I was I had this idea, if I wrote music like this, and I can maybe get signed one day, and then it just wasn't working. I wasn't getting any attention from any record labels or anything like that. And I just decided, I'm going to write music that I like and that means something to me. I wrote I Am Barabbas, and I remember it was just me and my producer. We were in a room and we were working on a song. I told him, I was I don't like this song. And I was I want to record this one. So we just recorded it. It was just me and my guitar. And I remember it was during Easter time, and I posted one video. It was just a little, actually, it was it was a slideshow thing. It was a picture thing. It wasn't even I posted with my, just a demo of the song, and I woke up and I had 1 million views because I posted it right around Easter, and I had 1 million views on TikTok. I was oh my gosh, I have never had anything nearly as, get anything like that. And so I just kept posting videos and pictures with that song, and people really liked it. And that's when, so when I finally released it, I was okay, I kind of get what people want. And it's it worked out because it was so much of what I liked. So I think that first song, it really it clicked in my head. Okay, I kind of know what I want to do now. I want the sound. I know what the sound should be. I know what type of music I can write. This is what works, and that's kind of what I've been chasing ever since.
They said this preacher man comes from Galilee. There's something so absurd that he deserved to serve my penalty. How can it be? I know I've done my wrong, 'cause doing
wrong is something I do well. I know the chord of law, and something like this doesn't ring a bell. How can it be? And how can it be? I am Barabbas, you took upon the cross. I was a prisoner till you bought my bond with blood. And I can't run away from what my accusers say. 'Cause I am Barabbas, I am Barabbas, your friend.
Barabbas is an interesting person to choose to write a song about, but tell me what you saw in that person that translated to a song.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're right. I mean, I think it might have been just in one or two of the Gospels. I forget. In the sections, I mean, they're not big at all. And I think that well, first they started writing a song about being like the guy next to Jesus on the cross. And I was like, it just didn't sing well. I just sang I am Barabbas. It just literally came to me. Most of the time I think, and I have to think, and it takes a long time. But I literally just sang I am Barabbas. And like when that hit me, like it like literally physically just like was like, I was like, it hit me. I was like, man, and so, yeah, I just sat there and I just like, I always loved songs that told stories. And I just feel like it's like, I wanted to write it in a way that like, it could be actually from the perspective of Barabbas, who Jesus took his place on the cross, and also, but you could take it, you know, in a sense like we are Barabbas because Jesus took our cross, you know. It's still one of my favorite songs I've ever written for that, because I always wanted to have a song that kind of explained the gospel from, you know, for unbelievers or people that, you know, like just from beginning to end, if they understood this song, that they would like hear the gospel. That was like my big goal, my big dream for a song, and it kind of came true with this one, you know.
I want to look this up real quick. I am Barabbas. As of right now, you and I talking. 9 million streams.
That's crazy.
You're a kid from Port Richey, Florida.
I know.
You're 21 years old. I don't want to get that confused with the 21 million streams of the Prodigal. What does that number mean to you right now?
I just think that's, yeah. I mean, it's just a lot of people that it seems like just enjoy these songs, and it just, I mean, blows my mind. And honestly, I'm super blessed to live in an age and a time where like I could be in Port Richey, Florida, and post a song and people from the other side of the world could listen to it. And so I'm just grateful, because I feel like it used to be even 10 years ago, 15 years ago, before the internet really was like that, I mean, that would be impossible. So I just think God ordained, like God literally like knew what he was doing when his time, like my whole life, I guess, is just like feeling me saying that God's timing is just like, yeah, blows my mind. It blows my mind.
I know how I am, and I think I know how I would react. I would be very human in that moment. Has this gone to your head? Have you had your beautiful bride pull you aside and go, hang on, buddy, you're still 21. You still need to make the bed.
I mean, I think that having people like, yes, Trinity keeps me humble. But also my mom. And that's one of the reasons why I've decided I want to stay where I grew up, and the same church I grew up in, and the same people, because it's like those people still see me as, you know, Josiah, and they, you know, they'll keep me humble. And I sing in that environment with those type of people. They'll, you know, always tell me it's straight, and they never like really hype me up and make me feel like I'm something that I'm not. But they also love me. But that's what I think, staying around people like that keep you grounded is like the number one key, I would say.
I've been sick and tired, being sick and tired, searching far and wide for something that feels real. I need something that feels real. And I don't want to lose my soul chasing after things that don't lead me straight to you. And I'm lost in a feeling that I ain't from this world. That going back to Eden ain't gonna be easy, but it leads me straight to you. Now I'm running like the prodigal.
When do you decide we should take these songs out on the road? Because you're on your very first tour, and we're going to get into that. But tell me about the conversation of deciding, let's go.
To be honest with you, we had no idea. Like, I have a booking agency and my managers, like none of us really knew what the reception would look like at doing a tour. But I did last year around this time. Or no, not last. It was like September last year. I did these like pop-up free shows. I'd fly and just be like, whoever wants to come comes, and we'd have a couple hundred people come out. So I was like, oh man, it'd be cool to do like a tour. And so I really wanted to do it. And I wanted to do one at my home church, and Trinity's is in Iowa, where her parents pastor. And we wanted to route those in. We wanted to add in, I wanted to do, I think all of us were on the same board. We're like, after the Prodigal, we should do the Prodigal tour. And man, this tour has just been there's only 2 dates right now that haven't sold out yet out of all of them out at 20. And some of them sold out months ago, and it's just people are so excited, and it's honestly blows my mind. It's a worship. Trinity, she brings the word. She preaches halfway in the set, and it's just ministry to us, and seeing so many people hungry for Jesus. And man, it's just I've never seen anything like it. No one, not my booking agency, not me. No one could have. We didn't plan on it being like this, and it's just totally a God thing,
What are you seeing when you look out into the crowd? You got sold out. Are we talking, my son is 17, my oldest daughter's 26. Is it that age group? Are you seeing moms and dads? Who are you seeing?
Well, yeah, I would say the majority, it would be probably from high school to college would be a large majority. But my favorite is it's a lot of families, a lot of parents and kids and little kids. And my favorite is when they make the little signs, I've seen a bunch of little kids bring signs that they make themselves. And I mean, man, so I would say it's families, but also that age group. Yeah.
What's it like, Josiah, hearing that amount of people sing your words back to you?
That's the biggest thing that I just love. I just take we have these in-ear monitors so we can hear our own guitars and all that stuff. And I take them out sometimes just to hear it. And it just blows my mind every time that they know the words. And then not only that, but you can tell when someone's singing a song but then when someone's singing a song and they mean it, and they it means something to them. And so I Am Barabbas or Fishes and Loaves is a song that really seems it means a lot to people. And I just see them, sing those songs, and hear it so loud, it's louder than me. Sometimes it's louder than my microphone is, and I'm just I don't know. Those are that's genuinely one of my favorite, my favorite part about these concerts is just hearing people I don't even care about the recognition of getting from these songs, but I just love seeing these songs that I write mean something to people. You know what I mean? That just means the world to me.
Boy, he could preach. That man spoke of things of heaven still on the earth. He stood on that hill from morning until you could see the hunger in our eyes. I turned to my mama, asked what should we do? Oh, we have one more soul's left. And something told me that my mama believed this preacher could use him more than me. Oh, I'm trying to let go. My heart isn't easy, but I give you control. I know it's not much, but I know what I owe. So I give you all my fishes and loaves.
The routing happens. You're booking people who are all right, we're going to Indiana, we're going to Michigan, we're going to Iowa. Do you have to go buy yourself a new van? Did you have a van?
Oh, man.
What are you driving, dude?
We got a 12-passenger van. Yeah, man. Yeah, they would say we're roughing it because, people got buses and stuff. Somebody asked me once, what's your favorite bus food? I had no idea what that was. We don't do the bus thing. We have but it's a pretty cool van. It's got like, it was a 12 passenger. Now it's like 10 passenger. It came with like its custom seats already in it. So that was sweet. And they like recline back a little bit. And it's pretty good. But like, obviously when you're in it for like 80 hours every 2 weeks, like, I don't know, like you're in it a lot. It does get a little old.
I'd like to ask about some of the atmosphere inside that van. Do you have a chart for who's going to drive? And when the person is driving, are they in charge of the music, or is it a vote? Hypocrisy.
Well, okay, so this is how it normally runs. We have a driver typically, and my driver was last week. It was my grandpa. He's retired now, so he drove us. So he's the boss. And then my dad did a couple weeks driving. I'll do some driving. That'll be it. And as far as music goes, I'm pretty boring. I said I don't really put music on, I guess. I just, everybody sleeps a lot. Like, we got neck pillows. I've never used a neck pillow before. But I was like, might as well. I see everybody gets them. So I bought a bunch of neck pillows, and everybody just kind of takes naps. Yeah, it's kind of messy in there, but it's like what you do when you're in there for so long,
Do you guys hit the road after a show, or do you sleep and then get up early and start driving?
Yeah, it depends. Sometimes like we will have to get like 6 hours or 8 hours to the next spot that we have to play the next night, and we'll do 2 hours, get to the hotel, wake up, and we'll just get the 6 hours done the next day. But normally, if it's like 6 hours and under, we'll get a hotel like in the area we're at, and then wake up and just get the 6 hours or the 4 hours in. Like that's light. Like 6 hours feels easy. Like that's like that's only 6 hours, but. Yeah, 4 hours is nice. Like that's when it's like, oh man, yeah, we can leave at 8, load in at noon. That's easy. Yeah, like that's good. We can do that.
I can't wait to talk to you in about 5 years.
I know, that's the thing, man. It's like right now, like they tell me if you ever get in a bus, like you'll never go back. I was like, okay, well maybe I shouldn't do a bus for a while because I can't afford a bus.
Sure. We got to give your wife some props and some time and some shout out. How did you meet Trinity?
I met Trinity. I was 17. Me and my mom growing up, we would travel and do. We did like a traveling ministry together with our church, and we said we were missionaries to America, and we wouldn't charge or anything. We'd raise our own funds. We'd fly to different churches, and my mom would do like evangelism trainings and prayer trainings, and kind of do that. And I would do the worship and maybe like youth night, worship nights, or things like that. And so. Her parents in Iowa, they have a church in Waverly, Iowa, and they had us out. I was like, where's that? There. My mom was like, do you want to go to Iowa? And I was like, I don't know. Iowa, what's in Iowa? So I went. It was in February, it was freezing. And I did my first original song I ever recorded, and I played it there. And it was like the week before I released it. And I met her, it was kind of like we talked once and went home and went back to Florida and just thought about her, and I haven't talked to her. We didn't talk for months and months, and then COVID happened, and then we talked. I put a DC Talk song in my story, and she was a youth pastor kid growing up. So I put Jesus Freak by DC Talk on my story, and she like slid up and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I love all of their music." I only knew one song, but I was like, "Yeah, man." I was like, all my favorite out. Like, yeah, I know every song. And yeah, we started talking from there, did long distance for 3.5 years. And then we got married and she moved to Florida. Yeah, man.
I was paying attention during that story, young man. And here's what I heard. It started on a lie.
I mean, it's partially, I didn't know one of the, listen, but it worked.
Have you told her this yet? Yet?
Oh yeah, she knows. And the thing is, one thing that we do, and I don't really have, have some of the DC Talk. I got us both like vintage T-shirts from like their original tours and stuff. And she'll tell people when I'm wearing. She's like, "Well, I know all the songs, and he only knows one." I know more songs now because of her. But I mean, Jesus Freak is the best one in my humble opinion. So
the whole album will change your life. It'll change your life. You ought to listen to it on your next from point A to point B on this tour.
Just play them all.
Final question. By the way, you've been a trooper. Right. Thank you. What is the next thing you're most excited about?
Man, I have an album coming out on the 24th of this month, and that is for sure what I'm most excited about. I mean, like, I've dreamed of like having an album, and I've worked so hard on it, and like I've just put everything that I could into it, and like I'm just excited to have an album, just to it be out and to have all these songs and it just be like something I could like 10, 20 years from now look back and be like proud of, something like that. So I'm super excited. I'm pumped for that to come out on the 24th. I would say that's like the biggest thing, my first album.
What's the name of it?
It's going to be called The Prodigal, just after that. But it's kind of cool because it's like, and I didn't mean it to be like this, but sometimes albums will have like a theme and they're kind of like centered around that. And it's kind of centered around that theme of like, this world is like fleeting and, money and fame and all those things, they don't really mean anything in comparison to eternity. And so like, it's kind of the idea of just like being sold out for Jesus, living for him now, bringing heaven to earth now. And, forgetting those things that really don't matter, getting worried on things that don't matter so I really love that. It's kind of all based on the prodigal theme. It wasn't intentional. I just genuinely what was in my heart when singing and writing these songs is that they were all kind of centered around that idea,
Josiah Queen, we can find you on Spotify. We can find you on social media. You're one of these young kids who knows how to do all the tiki-takis, all the things.
Mm-hmm. All the dances.
I am so glad that I got to get in on the floor level before this thing explodes. I wish you the best of luck, and I'm praying for you. And I got a 17-year-old who is kind of in your ballpark of trying to figure out what the next right thing to do is. I'm excited for you, young man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you, and I thank you so much for having me on today.
What Else with Corey Mann, with your host, Corey Mann. Original music and theme song by Chris Cron. Share this episode with a friend, and thanks for listening.